This video shows you the recognition of accruals and how to dissolve them in the next accounting period.
I'm Carsten Berkau, full accounting professor in Osnabrück. My BasicsClips will help you to understand international bookkeeping.
The case is taken from chapter 18 of my textbook. In the case study SIMONI Limited, the company must pay rent 1 month in advance. At the beginning of the accounting period 2004, the company pays rent for January, and at the end of January they pay rent for the next coming February. For all the other months they pay in advance. So in total the company makes 13 payments for rent to the extent of 1,500 each. We're going to take a look at the rent and at the bank account. We see 13 bookkeeping entries on the debit side of the rent account and 13 entries on the credit side of cash bank. The next step is that the rent for the January in 2005 is transferred to prepaid expenses. The company makes a debit entry in the prepaid expenses account and a credit entry in rent. Once we study SIMONI's statement of financial position, we see prepaid expenses on the asset side, and we see on the income statement that only the rent expenses for the accounting period 2004 are recorded. In the case study, the company makes 13 payments in the rent 2004 account. They record credit entries in cash bank. If I now close off the rent account to profit and loss, it would give me 19,500 euros, which is wrong, because the last payment which has been made by the company is for the next accounting period 2005 and must be recognized for the 2005 accounting period in profit and loss. For that reason, we must transfer the rent for January 2005 to prepaid expenses. We make a debit entry in prepaid expenses to the extent of 1,500 and we credit the amount to the rent account. Now we balance off the accounts. By the next step, we transfer 18,000 to the profit and loss account. In the next accounting period, the company will prepare a rent account for 2005 and makes a debit entry for the rent for January 2005. The reference is prepaid expenses. After SIMONI Limited made the bookkeeping entries, they balance off the accounts. The rent 2004 account got a balancing figure of 19,500. This balancing figure is too high. SIMONI Limited has to transfer 1,500 to the prepaid expense account. We balance off again the rent account. Now it shows a balancing figure of 18,000, which are the correct amount of expenses for the accounting period 2004. Next we close off rent 2004 to profit and loss 2004. We make a debit entry in the profit and loss account and we credit the amount to the rent account. On its balance sheet, SIMONI Limited will disclose 1,500 as prepaid expenses. Now that you have seen the video, take the textbook and study the case.